Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
I
It's
got it.
Friday. What'd you get?
You usually catch me off guard with the beginning. I heard the click. I said hi.
There you go.
There you go.
That's all.
Here we are.
That's all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Now we can end the show in
Exactly.
peace.
That was Grant. I'm Jake.
Ooh,
Good night.
thank God. We're done. No, I'm kidding. What if that was ever just? We're just waiting for Jake to just realize when the show was starting.
And that's when our inevitable end would come.
Yeah, that's when we call it quits.
Today.
It's over.
It's
But
nice
no,
getting to know you.
it's not over. As a matter of fact, it's very much just beginning. We are here with a new episode.
Yeah, we are starting a cult. That's Grant. I'm Jake. Mitch is here. He's on his phone, but he's here. You know what he sounds like. You know
You're
what he
right.
is. Hey! There he is.
All I know is we're shifting into soup mode, as
Soup
George
mode?
Costanza would say. You know,
Like, what you need to explain yourself. Is this a no soup for you sort of thing? Because we're giving it to the people.
it's from that. Remember, he's going in. Elaine's talking. To him, he's like, Elaine, I need you to stop talking. I'm shifting into soup mode.
I don't remember this. Which episode?
That was the soup Nazi when
That
they
was
were
the
in
soup
line.
Nazi?
Yeah,
Is he just going to be following orders?
I don't know. But
Is that what it is?
He was getting into soup mode.
Soup mode.
And
Nice.
soup mode to me is Halloween. For some reason, I correlate like hot, stewy soup and like fall spookiness.
Yeah, it's like a homogenous.
It's not quite the
It's one thing, but it's also so scary.
It's not quite that like jittery feeling, or like the kind of happy-go-lucky feeling of Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's more of the like,
What's gonna happen? Like the feeling everyone's had this whole year.
pretty much. And yeah, so we're doing a little Halloween hodgepodge of just spooky nonsense.
Some pretty scary stuff. We're gonna start off with a rather big one. I think we've talked about it before in one of these past episodes, right?
Yeah,
the
the Liska. It's funny because I remember we were doing an episode very similar to this. And
Yeah,
it
we
was-
were just talking about spooky
and,
shit.
I was reading about it and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then, I don't know, time went on and I was watching some documentary about like murders, about like unsolved murders in like early like years of America. And I was like, huh. They were talking about like this. It was like, I know that. And I looked
Yeah,
up,
the
it's like,
Belisca.
holy shit, I know that. And then it just came to fruition. So it's been surrounding me ever since.
There you go. Exactly. We need to expand upon this. Well, we've already talked about it. We're surely going to say some more.
Definitely.
Right now.
It's time. It's time for the. I wouldn't. It's a very interesting topic because it's like there's only so much raw information,
It's fun. It's quick.
but there's
you know?
so much other shit. Not to mention that it's one of the most reportedly haunted areas in like the country. It's everyone says it's the most haunted place in Iowa. So
The Velisca axe murders.
yeah, so it's got some hauntings on both ends, the
Yeah.
start and the end. You know,
Nice.
there you go.
Dude, are we going to get into this? Are we going to do this right now?
Yeah, do it.
Well, between
Take
the
us
Velisca
there.
axe murders, right? Okay, so between the evening of June 9th and the morning of June 10th of 1912, the Moore family and their two guests were brutally murdered in their home in Velisca, Iowa, using an axe.
Yeah,
Isn't that just so spooky?
it was.
Sounds terrible.
It is terrible.
were
Mitch,
children.
far away from the microphone.
There were children that were killed. It happens, but yeah, it's not a great start to the story.
All right, let's
That's
get-
how it
yeah.
starts.
Yeah, so that's the little intro. You know what's going to happen. Let's get into the details. All
Go
right,
in.
who was involved? Right, the Moores, Josiah. All right, that was the father. He was 43. Sarah, with an H, was 39. She was the mother. And then they had four kids. Right, there was Herman, Mary, Arthur, and Paul. They were 11, 10, 7, and 5. And then they had two guests at the time. Right, two guests. They were friends of Mary's. Ina May and Lena Gertrude Stillinger. They were 8 and 12.
And I don't know if you'll cover this. It's just a little interesting tidbit, I guess, if you want to call it interesting. The two guests, they actually were not like scheduled. I guess you'd say they didn't have a scheduled play date, but they're pretty much they were at Sunday school, or they like their their version of that, like their holy school, and the girls were all playing and having a good time, and the Moore family was just like, we're gonna take them out for ice cream. Take these kids with, and maybe we'll have a little slumber party tonight. And it was just an impromptu tragedy.
It was
for
a very
these people.
impromptu thing. Yeah, it was actually at the Presbyterian Church, and
There
it was
you go.
it was the Children's Day program that Sarah Moore actually put together through the church.
See, I was on the right track.
So yeah, Mary invited her friends Lena and Ina. I think I'm pronouncing those right. Lena and Ina. She invited them to the Children's Day program, but it ended around 9:30. So the Moores were walking home with the Stillingers, and they were just like, we don't really want to walk home alone in the dark because it's late as fuck. So they got home. They got back after the Children's Day program at 9:45, 10 o'clock.
Little did they know, if they would have just braved that little bit of uncomfortable uncertainness, they probably would have survived.
Yeah, they would have gone down in history as the
But
Stillinger sisters.
the world, or I
Nearly
don't know,
escaped death.
if you believe in God or whatever you believe in, whatever it has a funny sense of humor. That's all I got to say.
It's
'Cause
hilarious.
This is just completely coincidental.
It really is. Here's the comedy, right? The next morning, neighbor Mary Peckham, I think it's Peckham,
Yeah, I would go with Peckham.
noticed that no one at the Moore's residence had gotten up to do their normal morning chores, right? This is the pinnacle of nosy neighborhood.
They make it sound so good. Like she's such a wholesome lady. I feel like realistically she got up, she's like, those fucking lazy bastards aren't even out of bed yet.
Here's my daily telescope peep into their rooms.
Like that's
one
what
of
I don't know
those.
what time's early back in this year. I don't know.
All right, so here it comes to light, right? So by 7 a.m., she was so fed up with them not being up, she knocked on their door. So it was 7 a.m.
Okay,
so,
see, that's
so it was
fucking
probably around
crazy.
6 a.m. that they woke up, maybe 5 o'clock, maybe 4, 3 even. I don't know what farmers
That's
do.
crazy to me.
You know?
This is me with the 2020 vision,
Like the year or the actual
vision
thing?
of all the knowledge that has gotten us to here. If I'm not up by
I don't know
7
if it's
a.m.,
knowledge that's gotten us here, but
if I'm not awake by 7 a.m., don't fucking worry. Because that's completely
because that
normal.
just means I'm going to sleep for 7 more hours.
That just
All right?
means it's okay.
Just get out of
like,
here.
I'm sleeping. In this scenario, yes, I understand they were dead next door, but you get the point.
All right, so here's what it is. Apparently, there were some chickens. They were probably making some noise annoying her
Ah,
on their property because at 7 a.m. she went over, knocked on the door,
Okay,
and
okay.
when there was no answer, she attempted to enter the home, right, and it was locked, of course, as you do. At
that's
night,
a ballsy neighbor, man. Just like,
like,
something's
let me
weird,
just
I'm gonna
come
in. Like,
yeah, let me just come in.
the
But
fuck?
anyway,
What if they were like beating off in there or something? Like, fuck that. The people do that.
well, you
know?
get to see it if they don't lock their doors. It's a lesson for you. Lock your doors, or anyone can see whatever you're doing in your house.
It's a fact of life, okay? If you are a human being, you're going to masturbate at some point in time.
Yeah,
And if you walk in on somebody that's doing it, in a scenario where you go
spritz
into
them with
their,
holy water. Say sin, sin, sin.
if you go into their domicile, their area, if you're in their
What
area
does
of
that
living,
mean?
what, a domicile?
A domicile. What is that?
It's like protect my domicile, my home, my area,
You just
my
used
property.
it. All right. Okay.
That, you know what I mean? Like my domicile.
Would it
I don't
show
know
up
the
on
technical
assets,
term.
or is that just like a feeling, like of safety, wherever you want? I
You're
don't know.
getting
Go on.
You're getting too nitpicky.
I'm so sorry.
I hate it. Get out.
It's
Get
not.
out.
It's not intentional, but I'm not going to apologize.
No, anyway, this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Masturbating.
Yeah.
If somebody goes into somebody else's property and that said person is in there pleasing themselves, the person that walked in has no right to complain. Because that's as natural as shitting. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to poop. If you happen to walk into the bathroom and someone's pooping, that's just what happens.
People are going to pick their nose and eat it. Yeah.
If anything, it means that
A lot
the
of
world
stuff.
goes on. Like, the gears keep moving, you know?
Yeah.
So, in this scenario, if they were alive and masturbating, the neighbor would have been in the wrong.
Yeah.
But they
If
weren't.
the door was unlocked, which it wasn't. All right. So, yeah, it's 7 a.m. She went over there, tried to get in after knocking on the door. No answer. She couldn't get in. It was locked. Right? So then she let the chickens out of the coop on the Moore's property and got a hold of Josiah's brother, Ross. Good old Ross. All right. So after no answer, once again, when Ross got there, and being unable to see into the house from any angle, Ross discovered that he went inside with a copy of the key that he had because, he's family. You give your family some keys in emergencies.
Maybe.
Sometimes it depends. I don't know your family.
See, I don't know why I'm playing devil's advocate because this scenario happened.
This all did happen. There's no there's no disputing this.
All of my theoretical points are pretty much null and
You're
void.
just like, that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit.
But I'm painting the image of what could have been in a different universe and what very well might be in a different line of existence.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
Just, I don't know, testing the waters, putting it out there.
I appreciate it. But anyway, Ross, he used a copy of the key to get inside. He first went into the guest room where he discovered the two bloody bodies of Ina and Lena Stillinger on the bed, covered in a sheet in the guest room, right? So, and immediately he told Peckham.
Immediately he said, "Oh my God, there's ghosts in here."
Maybe. Who knows, man? Who knows at this point? Still unsolved.
He's like, "Oh my God, that's the best ghost costume I've ever seen."
She's just dead.
She looks so lifeless under those sheets.
This looks so lifeless, so real.
Ooh.
But no.
Bad time.
So Peckham, the neighbor, she waited on the porch in the first shine of respectfulness that she's shown this morning. So yeah, she waited on the porch, and he called back to her. He's like, "You gotta call the goddamn sheriff, Henry," in parentheses, Hank Horton. So apparently they called him Hank, but his name was Henry Horton. He was the sheriff, and so Sheriff Horton arrived around 8:30 a.m., so like an hour and a half after this. Well, I don't know how long it took Ross to get there. But still, at 8:30 a.m., Sheriff Horton showed up, and he began going through the house, and this is what he found. You want to go through this list with me, Grant?
Yeah, you found dead bodies.
Yeah. All right. So
corpses.
let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not give away our lead.
I apologize.
Okay.
They prefer the term "the living impaired."
The otherwise living. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. So the first thing he saw, right? Okay, an uneaten plate of food on the kitchen table, next to a pot of bloody water.
No fat guys live here. And no
fat guys. There's some bloody water. You would drink that right up. And there were also clothes from the Moore's dressers draped all over the mirrors and the pane windows that could not be covered by curtains. So there's no way to get into this house or see yourself in any way in this home. Right?
Interesting.
Okay. So
maybe the killer, or supposed killer, thinks he's ugly.
He didn't actually kill them. They're still alive.
I mean, parallel universe, multi-dimensional theory lawyering is a very complex issue.
Right. You're not wrong at all.
So I don't want to get into that because my clients, who will remain nameless.
Oh, your clients, Grant, right? Okay.
We're currently in trial in another dimension, and I can't talk too much shop, but let me just say this. The supposed killer thought he was an ugly individual.
You're one of those billboard lawyers, aren't you?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, all right, okay.
Interdimensional ambulance chaser.
What else did he find? Right, okay. The murder weapon, the axe, which belonged to Josiah. It was Josiah's axe, right? Okay. So that was the murder weapon. It was found in the master bedroom, partially wiped clean, next to a 4-pound slab of bacon wrapped in cloth.
Cool.
Weird little monkey wrench here.
I guess just de-thawing. Or not
there you
de-thaw,
go.
you thaw. You don't de-thaw. That would be freezing.
Yeah.
That'd just be freezing. But maybe he's trying to thaw it out quick or something. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So, and axe marks were found on the ceilings of the two bedrooms that the Moores family slept in. The two bedrooms that the Moores family slept in, right? Okay, and what else did they find, Grant?
Fucking corpses,
8 deceased bodies of the 6 Moores and 2 Stillinger sisters, yes.
I knew it.
Right?
I knew it.
It's fucking crazy. Dude, some of and they looked awful. They were in the worst state of their lives that ended a couple minutes before.
I mean, yeah, they look
terrible.
Bashed with axes.
No, yeah. You want to hear some details?
Here's
some details. And Sarah Moore was the only one of the victims that received wounds from the blade end of the axe, actually. The rest of the victims received fatal blows to the head with the blunt end of it. So just the piece of wood there.
Ooh, that's fucking.
Isn't that
That's
just...
like a military approach, man.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. All right, the parents, Josiah and Sarah, they were each struck roughly 25 to 30 times in the face with this thing, right? That is a chop. That's a chop. That is a chop.
It will kill.
It Forged in fire, dude. Watch that goddamn show just to hear him say, "It will kill.
It will kill.
It will kill."
He's a fucking
God, it's a great show.
But
anyway,
let's say this weapon will kill.
Yeah, this weapon will kill.
Did.
25 to 30 times it killed the first time. All right, so Josiah's head from the chin up was bludgeoned to the point of his eyes seeming to be missing. And Sarah was in close to equally bad shape. The headboard of the bed was splattered with blood, brain matter, and bits of shattered skull. Right.
Damn.
It was speculated that the killer delivered single blows to each individual's head, starting with the parents, only to return to the parents' room to continue striking their lifeless bodies. Right?
All right.
In the guest bedroom, Lena Stillinger's body hung a third of the way out of the bed. Right? Her nightgown was pulled above her waist, and her underwear was thrown under the bed, which is... This is a terrible, gross thing to have happen to a child, right? Her pillow had brain matter and blood, and there was a blood smear above her right knee. Many believed that the blood smear above her right knee was evidence of sexual molestation, though later doctors' reports indicated that none of the victims showed physical signs of this, right?
Okay.
So it's interesting.
We're working with a deranged... I mean, just based off of the information I'm seeing right here, right now, is that this man...
This guy's like a plan going on.
Well, I mean, is it a plan? It seems so, like, violent to the point where it's, like... It's overly aggressive. I mean, if you count them all together, he swung that axe at least 100 times to kill 8 people.
Yeah, and every
so he was having some fun.
Yeah, and in every single bedroom there were axe marks from the blade on the ceiling. So that was just him, like... rearing it up to go down onto their heads and kill them in one single blow.
All right, so this leads me, just me. I mean, I'm no expert, unless this is interdimensional lawyering. But in my
again with this,
in my brain, this is just like a fucking psychopathy. It's literally just a man that is using brute force to terrorize somebody, and a group of these people are just unlucky.
It's really terrible, man. And
it seems so, like, you hate to say the word well done, but if you're talking about gore, it is beyond well done.
You know what? Unsolved? Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Like
he got away.
Let's just say it was probably a guy.
Just an assumption.
We'll get to the possible people that did it, and you'll see why I may think that.
Yeah, we have an assumption here. But
either way, there was no evidence of...
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It only gets worse. There's some bad stuff. So there was no sign, technically, of sexual molestation from the bodies, right? However, her sister Ina, right, so her body was facing left towards her sister, and that was setting it... Here, so her hips were twisted towards a lamp that was placed next to the side of the bed, right? And her undergarments were also gone. Many speculate that this was a scene set up for the viewing pleasure of the murderer. All 4 of the Moore children, their bodies seemed undisturbed post-death blow, right? As opposed to the Stillinger sisters. But anyway, so Sheriff Horton, he discovered all this, right? He was fucking crazy. He was like, "Oh my god!" He said, he then went to town and he fetched the doctor. But he made the terrible mistake of actually letting people in the town know about what had just happened at the old Moore's place, right? And word of the murders spread almost instantly. Like, operators used this thing that was around back then, like in the early 1900s. The all-call switch. And,
no way.
Yeah, so you could just call everyone. They literally told everybody about this. Like, actually, like everyone that they could reach, they told about this. And almost 100 people showed up at the crime scene to get a look at the bodies. They forced their way in, and they were going into each room yelling back and forth, like assuredly destroying very valuable evidence, probably. Some of the townsfolk even went so far as to close down their businesses just to like go get a look. It was insane. So the sheriff,
I would too. I mean, as brutal as it sounds, if that happened around like where I'm at, like
it's like,
I'd
let's
be
go
like,
check it out.
just I probably wouldn't care to like see the bodies, but I'd be like, I'm at least going to like see the house. Like that's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's
Why
like
would you not?
it just makes the house seem that much more daunting when you drive by. But so yeah, almost 100 people showed up. They were definitely destroying evidence. Some of them closed their businesses even to go. The sheriff Horton, he did his best to clear out the crime scene, but just as he would be leading out like a group of people out one door, more would be pouring in the back door. It was fucking chaos. So the coroner arrived after the townspeople did, unfortunately, though luckily the sheriff and 2 doctors had been there first and made some key discoveries, right? Let's see some key discoveries.
They found some keys in the toolbox, and they used those keys to open the shed. Where in the shed, they found a grill.
It said George Foreman. They're like, who is that? It's
No,
1912.
They found that, and then they just sold that at the police auction. I don't know. That's fictional. I made that up.
All right, so the thing that actually happened, there were 2 finished cigarettes. They were found in the attic, right? Leading investigators to believe that the killer was inside of the home when the family went to sleep, patiently waiting for the victims to fall asleep, right? Isn't that just terrifying?
Seems like a reasonable assumption.
Dude, just like the thought of like coming home and then someone is just in your house waiting for you to fall asleep.
Hey, man.
A real life person is somewhere in your house, right? Maybe it's right now.
These things probably happen more than we'd like to admit.
I haven't gone upstairs in a while.
You never know. You don't know what's going on up there.
Good.
Look at all the like YouTube videos, like people that set up nanny cams and they find like people living in their attics while they're at work.
It's terrifying. They're just like, yeah, some of my milk is gone. They're just like, they videotape their fridge and some woman just like pops out of a vent and just like drinks a quart of milk.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
It's weird. It can happen.
It's not good. They're all.
Life's a crazy place.
Life is a crazy place. Want to know something else that's pretty crazy regarding the bacon? You found next to the murder weapon, right in the master bedroom. Some of the killer, some believe that the killer simply meant to steal this before they left. Right? It's like
free handout.
Fucking free bacon.
Especially
but others,
back then, bacon probably was not cheap at that point. You're not mass producing it. You got to know a guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's 4 pounds of goddamn bacon. That's delicious. But it must have slipped his mind. That's one theory, right? Others speculate that the slab of bacon was used as an artificial vagina for the killer. Judging by the positioning of the 2 girls downstairs, the 2 guests of the Moors, the what is it? Yeah,
you know what I think?
It was the Stillingers.
I think one of the guys investigating this, and I say men
he
because
just has a very creative mind.
It was only a man that could come up with this. That guy,
maybe he used it as like a pussy.
He had to.
Like, you fucking idiot.
He probably had to like bag up all the evidence, so he comes to that, and he's just looking at it. They probably have their pictures of it. He's just looking at it, and he's like, you know what? It wouldn't shock me if this sick bastard fucked that bacon. And then that's the only legitimate response I've ever gotten. No person of credit was ever like, we think he used this slab of bacon to ejaculate, and then he continued the killing. It's like
are you
that was
sure?
It was a lone wolf.
One guy.
That's a rogue
just
theory.
Imagining like the fattest investigator in the world, like finding this bacon. And he's like, I need an excuse to bag this up. And he just came up with something, took it home, fried it up, died the next day. Who knows?
I don't know.
But
it was probably the saddest truth is that in this year and this time and this location in the world, 4 pounds of bacon sitting out like, I don't know, Sunday evening, they were throwing a big breakfast the next day.
No, it was going to be the best breakfast you could imagine. It was going to be bacon, fucking pancakes, maybe some eggs from those chickens that their neighbor let out, Peckham.
They went all out. That is a lot of
food. They were
food.
about to. They were gonna. They had every intention. But no, I think what we've been saying is right because there were no fluids or hairs found at the scene to support that theory. But it's kind of fun to talk about, like we just did, right?
I feel as if there could have been.
No,
but
of
just
course.
at the time, they're like, "There's nothing."
They didn't mention any like slit in it or something.
They just didn't have the
knowledge. Just like,
it
was just a piece of, it was just like a lot of meat wrapped in paper.
Technology wasn't, it didn't catch up to them at this point. They did not have the accessibility to, we're going to look for fingerprints. They're like, there's not a bloody handprint.
Damn.
You mean the guy didn't just write his name on the list on the
Why didn't
fridge?
the guy leave his fucking card? We've been telling these criminals to leave their goddamn cards.
At that, yeah, pretty much you just have to trust the word of mouth at that point. You don't really...
Why can't everyone be as considerate as the Joker leaving his calling card? You know?
They're
just like, I did it.
Because in reality, these people are much better criminals.
Yeah.
Think of how many times the Joker has been arrested or caught. Sometimes he's planned it.
But think of how many times he hasn't given a shit about that.
Hey, that's true. But to me, if you get caught, that's a loss, man. And his win-lose record is not great. Just to me.
No,
this
you're
guy,
right.
Villisca, axe-murdering guy, his track record's clean as far as we know.
It really is. Dude, it could be so many numbers of people.
It could have been
so,
OJ.
Do you want to get into some of these possible perpetrators and their backgrounds, maybe their incentives? I have 5 of them.
You have 5.
I'm just burping so much, yeah.
Dude, go for it, man.
Let's go over the first one, right? Reverend George Kelly. He had a reputation of peculiarity. He was a reverend in the town. He had past mental breakdowns, right? He was known to peep through people's windows to try to see them fuck. He did that a lot.
Speaking of
but he was the reverend still.
I want to turn this into reality for a second. I just read this article.
This is reality, sadly.
I read this article of this guy in Florida. He was a pastor. And somebody was walking past the church at like 11 p.m.
Oh, I think I know the story.
And they saw that the light was on. So they peeked their head like in the window to see. And the pastor of this church was being fucked by 2 dominatrix women.
Yes.
On the altar of the church.
Like a 43-year-old woman and a 23-year-old woman.
They
were all arrested.
To me, like, why are they arrested? What crime did they commit? It's not breaking and entering. The guy... He's the priest there.
Separation of church and state. There should be no laws
sex
regarding religion.
isn't a crime as far unless you
That's
paid
what I'm
them.
going with now.
I don't. They really should not be arrested. There's no crime that happened there.
Who knows, man? But either way, it makes for a funny story.
If anything, the guy that called the cops should get arrested for peeping. You don't
he was
look
like
at
this
other...
guy. He was like Reverend George Kelly. He was just peeking through people's windows.
If you
fucking
respect the house of God, you wouldn't peep into his house.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't look in on things you're not ready to deal with.
But no, that was way cooler.
Yeah,
priests being cool. That's awesome.
So yeah, he was known to be peeping through windows, watching people fuck.
At least it wasn't children.
At least it wasn't children, which it is in so many other cases. But we're past that. All right, so he has a past. He had a past, right, of sending lewd letters to women who were inquiring about jobs working for him, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was also sent to St. Elizabeth Hospital, the national mental institution in Washington, D.C., right? And then he confessed to the murders to the police. But then after many more hours of interrogation, he recanted. So this guy was just insane, is what people are thinking.
Yeah, you kind of
he's not worth listening to. He just kind of wasted everyone's time.
You run into that a lot with this case. It's just people that are like, I didn't do it. And then after a while, they're like, okay, I did. And then they're like, did you really? It's like, no.
This is probably the first time in history a holy man has wasted everyone's time. But
it might be.
Yeah, maybe. But
or it was the one time he did something right.
No, dude. That's the 2 dominatrix guy. That guy did it right.
That guy's my hero.
That
dude.
guy is fucking awesome. He's hilarious.
When this cult officially launches and we're a real cult, he's going to be like our minister of faith.
Yeah, get ready for that.
That's
We're
our
gonna have
guy.
some good stuff going on. There was another way. There's 4 other guys, actually. Let's keep going through them. Frank F. Jones. He was the former boss of Josiah Moore, right? There was bad blood between them after Josiah started his own business in the same field as him, right? Taking business away from Jones. It was also rumored that that Josiah had sexual relations with Jones's daughter-in-law, though there was no evidence to support this. I think it was just some gossip. The town of Villisca was also like super small. It was like between 2,000 2,500 people.
It's like Twin Peaks.
So it was pretty small. It was just kind of like things got around.
It's literally
you
Twin
know?
Peaks. That's what's happening in this
It is
town.
Twin Peaks, or
Everyone's
it's like
involved.
Gilmore Girls. You know that show? It's so small, everyone knows. It's so annoying. You never seen that show?
No.
You don't need to watch it. William
Okay.
Mansfield. There's
Oh, right. Jake watches Gilmore Girls.
No, I have a
respect it.
sister and have had women in my life, and they've watched it. But anyway, so William
Women named
Mansfield.
Jake.
Yeah.
That's a weird name for a woman.
I'm just sitting next to a mirror like, oh, this show's so stupid.
My
But in the same
sister-
breath, like, no, it's good.
My sister
No,
Jake
it's
loves
good.
this show. Just you in a fucking mirror.
I'm doing
Weirdo,
my makeup,
dude. Come
dude.
on,
I'm
you know-
putting on lipstick like Steve Buscemi.
I
Going
appreciate
on there.
you doing this with us. You know, I feel welcomed into your lifestyle. And
There's a lot of shit that I know about.
I, for one, will be providing a mirror for you in my home, so you and your sister can both enjoy, your evening. I don't want to exclude anyone.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's been too long of you shutting her out.
I was insensitive.
My sister Jake.
It's so sad.
Oh, it is so sad. William Mansfield, another guy, may have done it. He was believed to have been hired by Frank F. Jones, the guy we just talked about, the former boss of Josiah, right? He was believed to have been hired by him to murder the family. There's a lot of things leading people to believe that it may have been him, because he murdered his wife, his infant child, and his in-laws 4 years before this crime, right?
Nice.
It is believed that he was the Axeman of New Orleans that everyone was talking about at the time, right?
The Sax Man.
The Sax Man, responsible for several axe murders that took place around the same period, all committed near the Southern Pacific Railroad, right? And this is where it gets interesting. This railroad went all across a lot of fucking axe murders, right? So we'll put a pin in that, just in your memory. It is not a sure thing that all of these murders were perpetrated by the same person, though the similarities of each crime lead many investigators to believe it to be so. Okay?
Yeah, pretty much around this time. I believe it was like a 14-month period. There were mysterious deaths that were similar to the Villisca case, all throughout the country, spanning from as far as Oregon across up into Pittsburgh.
All in the route
Yeah.
of this Southern Pacific
And they
train.
all, you might be like, oh, that's just crazy. Well, they all took place within 15 miles of railroad stops in towns and cities.
It's insane.
So, maybe there's a guy that just killed someone, boop, pop on the train, boop, go to the next town, kill someone, boop, pop on the train.
Exactly. All these boops, dude. You're like, yeah, it could be that is what happened. But who knows? Apparently, this guy, though he had many similarities to someone who might do something like this, payroll records for Mansfield in Illinois at the time, they cleared him. They acted as an alibi, so he was just like, yeah, you're fine. Apparently he was working that day, right? Doing whatever.
No, I wasn't even supposed to be here
I
today.
wasn't even supposed to be here. All right, so there's another guy, Sam Moyer, probably, Josiah's brother-in-law. Okay, he had often threatened to kill him. And I don't know what his alibi was, but it cleared him. So he was just kind of off the table immediately.
All right.
He was
all
just
right.
like a line to make the article longer that I was reading. So here's maybe the guy, right? Okay, so Paul Mueller. He was a German immigrant at the time. He was the sole suspect of a lot of similar crimes, actually, that include but are very much not limited to a family in West Brookfield, Massachusetts, that hired him as a farmhand in 1897. That ended up dead, all of them, and he was gone. All right,
That was a completely separate incident. My clients from the
Had
other
nothing to do
dimension,
with
they
this.
would like this to be known to the public of this reality. That is not what happened at all. Completely unrelated, admissible.
and it's
Please
going to be
move on.
huge. So yeah, all right. Most likely to have been the actual murder of the Moore family, right? That's probably what people a lot of the time say. The theory was set forth in 2017, actually, by this guy Bill James and his daughter Rachel McCarthy. James. And so they proposed that Mueller was responsible not only for the Villisca murders, but of the slew of axe murders that took place over the span of more than a decade throughout the U.S. Through striking similarities in the
funny
crimes.
enough, they connected him to that, and then he was connected to 9/11.
Are you sure?
No,
He was in
but
the basement.
I heard that, and I think
I think
I think
true.
they're onto something.
I read it online, and I think it's true.
They're onto something here. Okay, okay. Well, this guy's an axe wielding,
He's just a
people
fucking
destroying
maniac.
man.
He just has his things he does. But through striking similarity in the crimes, the Jameses believe the man to have killed at least 59 people in 14 separate incidents. Because apparently there were a lot of other cases where all the fucking mirrors were covered, all the places you could see through anything into the house, that was all covered. The axe was somewhat like cleaned afterward. All these people had blunt injury blunts. They were smoking hella J's as they were being murdered by the blunt end of an axe. And there's just a lot of similarities to this. So apparently this guy Bill James and his daughter Rachel think that this might be the most tenable, maybe believable explanation for the axe murders. 59 people in 14 separate things, dude. That's fucking insane. Villisca axe murders, no one knows. No one really does know, and even if we do, he's dead. Isn't that just terrible? Isn't that just fucking the worst?
I mean, it's
so scary for Halloween.
It's long gone, man.
Yeah.
People get away with murder a lot. All right. It's a lot easier than you might think. That's the scariest part.
Yeah, that was the Villisca axe murders.
But yeah, the house now is very haunted, supposedly. They have tours and all these things where you can go into the different rooms and check out the entire home. It's kind of cool.
They have like an official site, and I actually took the virtual tour of the home. It was pretty cool.
Ooh, now you have a virus.
I had to download Adobe.
Oh, that's worth it.
From maybe Adobe sites. I don't know.
But yeah, it's that's some Halloween spooky action.
My computer's on fire.
It's unsolved murder that leads to ghosts. I mean, what more do you want?
What more do you want?
I can't tell you.
Mitchell, what more do you want?
Maybe some demonic activity.
Speaking, Mitch,
I want this guy to be a Satanist.
I'm gonna pepper this little tale that I have.
He fucked the bacon for Satan.
Okay, I believe you.
Cleaned it all up.
No, you don't clean it. You don't clean anything.
Well, then why weren't there any fluids or hair?
Maybe he just didn't finish.
Maybe he flossed with the hair. Maybe he ate the fluids.
There's so many answers
to
that question.
That wasn't all the bacon. He cooked the ones that he came on for Satan.
Okay.
It would give it a nice salty texture. Yeah.
Well, on the theme of away from this, the fucking bacon.
We're gonna move away from the bacon.
There's it's just a little retelling of an interesting story. I have no actual clearance to use names because it's really just something I'm going to talk about right now. So I'm going to keep names out of it. But someone we know, we were discussing. It was Mitch and myself and this individual, a friend of the show.
Oh, you have permission to talk about this?
Well, I just don't
Without
know about
this person?
names. I'm just going to do it.
That's awesome.
So we were just talking, and we were doing this, talking spooky things. I don't even really know how we got on this topic, but Mitch was retelling his story of his Jelly Man encounter. And if you don't know that story, it's documented on the Shadow People episode, if you're interested.
Go check it out.
Just a thought. But Mitch, you were talking to her. I don't really remember exactly what led to this, but we were talking about shadows, essentially, seeing shadow people-ish, weird shadows, and she kept talking, and she was just like, yeah, like I saw like this shadowy like figure, blah blah, in my room, and like it was really weird, and it was freaking me out, and we were just very interested, and we just kept going, and before she could say anything, we were like, oh, is he wearing a hat? And she was like, yeah, it was like a wide brim, like kind of like taller top hat-ish thing.
The room goes cold. Yeah.
And like, dude, me and Mitch, I don't know what your exact reaction was, but I was
like, oh,
floundering.
Holy shit. Like, we were joking, and then she's like, no, he really did.
And
we're like, you're fucking kidding me, right?
The reason that this story is intriguing is because I know for one that this is a trustworthy story. I trust the individual, like that. I have no faith in.
She's a trustworthy individual.
I have no
agree.
disfaith in that. And the fact that she was completely unaware of the Hat Man in itself, like that idea was foreign to her.
Yeah, and that's like a trend that we found in like cases of people that have these types of experiences. They know nothing about it, so this just falls right in. It's so scary.
Is that a trend though?
I think it is, right? Like people, like they always have these experiences, and then like later when they decide to look into it, they're just like, "Holy shit, I'm not alone."
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, and that was her moment. You guys just being like, "Oh my god."
I'm not sure.
You know,
but it was strange.
Yeah, they come when you least expect it. You know,
it was strange to hear that, and then we kind of harped on it. Not harped on it, but we talked on it a little bit more. And it really didn't go too far past that. It was more that like she just saw him and felt kind of creeped out by it.
Did you say she was like, "Okay, let's stop talking about it"?
Well,
like,
no,
let's stop.
It was after this occurrence because we just continued talking about things like that. We were throwing stories out.
Conversation evolved into something else.
And then in the same house that this experience occurred in, at like a younger age. At this point, she was 17. So this was not super long ago. She was like, yeah, I was in the house, and like I went down in the basement to do like laundry. I was bringing laundry down. And she was like, as soon as I like went downstairs, like her family was just there. It was like her mother, her grandma, her, and like a little boy.
Like as if it was just a normal time of the day.
Yeah, like
they were just there.
They were just standing there, and she was like, so I kind of freaked out and just like turned around, and then they were at the top of the stairs too.
Yeah. Did she say something about their eyes?
I believe they were red.
Yeah, they were like glowing red, and she didn't know who the little boy was.
Yeah,
it wasn't like someone in her family.
Yeah, it was not someone she knew personally.
It's goddamn terrifying.
She did identify the other apparitions as herself and her family members.
Yeah, that's the thing that was even crazier. It's like she saw herself there with her family.
Yeah, and
classic doppelganger situation.
I like this story a lot because it's interesting. It's short, sweet, to the point.
And for all we know, we're the only people that know about it.
Yeah,
besides the victim.
And I mean, again, it's a very trustworthy source, so I have no reason to. I don't know why, especially like knowing us. You don't lie about stuff with us. We'll pick it through. We'll figure it out.
Well, yeah.
It's too clean.
About this kind of stuff. You don't lie.
It's too. When people start throwing terminology at you, like they're like, "Oh, I saw the Hat Man," it's like you immediately dismiss it, just until you know more. Because it's like, all right, you're like so certain,
Yeah. If you're using jargon when you're saying like this is what I saw, it's like.
But when we have to pull the information individually and ask questions and then find out that it might match up with certain other characteristics of other stories, it's plausible. It's very interesting to
That's
me.
fucking crazy.
That was a nice little Halloweeny.
No, yeah. When you first told me about this, I was like, "Oh my god, this is perfect.
No, it's
This
really
is so perfect.
it's a really cool story.
Yeah. So glad it didn't happen to me.
I definitely want to get back more information, like come back to it if there's
Oh,
ever
for
like
sure, dude. We'll
further
keep some
developments
updates on this.
So we'll learn as it goes as I learn more, but we'll keep you updated if there's anything crazy.
Nice.
But that's a badass little story.
That is a badass little story. Some Shadowmen, some copies.
It's pretty
copies
cool.
Of people, red eyes.
That's it. Doppelgangers. That's like a.
That's a
like
whole episode
yeah.
in and of itself. We'll add that to the next list.
I know the basic
episodes
idea,
to
but I'm
do.
not. I know really nothing about that.
I know it's a bad thing in that they look like you. So isn't that just an embedded insult?
It's just cool, man.
Yeah.
It's just what happens.
Oh. Yeah, you want me to take the next one? It's really quick.
Dude, you go for it. Let's see what
quick.
you got, baby.
Right, it's the French Lick Springs Hotel in French Lick,
Oh,
Indiana.
yeah.
Okay, so this area got its name because there was a bunch of salt deposits, I guess, like salt licks for horses. The French found it. French Lick Springs Hotel. There you go. Anyway, wait, what? Mitch?
Isn't that where Larry Bird is from? Isn't that his hometown?
Get on
Could
it,
not
Grant.
tell you,
Get
man.
on it. You have a computer right there. Get on it. All right,
There-
Mitch is on it.
Birth locations is it's nowhere near my expertise level, man.
I don't even know where I was born. But all right, so French Lick Springs Hotel in French Lick, Indiana, right? There was a hotel. It was first built in 1845 by Thomas and Dr. William Bowles. Okay. And ownership over the years changed. There were a bunch of renovations made, and apparently some believed that it was this activity that stirred up something dark in the foundation. Also, Mitch just found that Larry Bird was indeed born here
Cool, man.
in French Lick.
His nickname was the Hick from French.
Ah, yes, Larry Bird's nickname was the Hick from French Lick. That's nice.
It's a fitting
I kind of like
nickname.
that. That's kind of fun.
It's good for it.
It's kind of fun because he dominated people on the court. So it's like, yes, I am. Like, one of those. But either way, so ownership changed. Everyone was just like, all these renovations are they're conjuring up something dark in the foundation, right? So the staff and guests throughout the years have reported a wide variety of mysterious activity, including orbs caught on photography. Pretty standard, right? Phantom wafts of perfume.
Phantom wafts.
Phantom wafts.
That's so stupid.
Wafts. Yeah.
That's
And then
so stupid.
it's like, I smelled something so alluring. For
Why are
just
you
a
upset
second.
about that? Why is that
Are you sure
upsetting?
that person that walked by you wasn't the thing? But either way, extreme temperature changes, maybe some bad insulation. But here's the kicker. The ghost of a previous owner, Tom Taggart. He roamed the lobby, apparently very well dressed. He was the owner of the hotel, probably in its prime, like its arguable prime. You know, so he treated it the best. So he was in the lobby, he was well dressed. He apparently would also host ghostly parties in the ballroom.
Ghostly?
I don't know what that means. Ghostly parties, like the entire place is just lit up with green ectoplasm or some shit.
I'm thinking that's probably their way of saying seances or
They're just
anything anti-Christian.
he was there and I left, but I'm pretty sure he was having a ball.
Honestly, just depending on this time period, they might have just been gay people.
Who knows?
And they're like, that's the work of the devil happening at this hotel. It's like, nah, it's just
it's
a
how about
hotel,
you just
man.
be cool for a second?
We're all just hanging out, doing our thing.
Or it was just Halloween parties.
It's
It's the devil. It's no, it's just a holiday. It's really for
It's
kids.
some
But
ghostly nonsense.
Painted my face red. It's like, no, you didn't. It's like, yeah, I'm drunk. But yeah, he would also apparently the ghost of Thomas Taggart. He would ride a spectral horse through the hallways at night, waking up many guests with the horseshoes.
That
With the horseshoe noises.
it sounds like French Lick is not content with having just Larry Bird.
It doesn't seem
they
like
want to have this so bad.
No, and this last thing is just kind of tacked in there. There's a bathtub in one of the rooms, right? We're in
if you use it, it doesn't even get the smell off you.
It makes you smell worse.
It's a fucking ghostly bathtub.
The bath doesn't work in this bath. No, it's a bathtub wherein bride is said to have killed herself, leaving a red stain on the bathtub, right? And no matter how many times that the bathtub is replaced, the red stain continues to come back in the same place. I feel like it's like a fungal, maybe irrigation thing.
I think it's
maybe there's a leak in the ceiling.
I don't know.
I don't know, but
the magical.
But isn't that pretty
party.
crazy? And then just like horseshoes in the middle of the night. It's
Man.
pretty scary, man. It could be a thing. I like to believe it.
It's got all the like tellings of a good story.
Yeah.
Which it could be. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't true. I've never been there, so I don't know.
Dude, you know what? I looked up their website, and they're still around. They're still bumping. Like, and it looks like a nice ass hotel. We should go there.
It's
you wanna
probably
go there?
super luxury. It's like,
like
$5,000 a night.
It looks like it, dude. You want to do like a live podcast from there? Like, we're broke. It's not very scary aside from our finances. You know,
We're
like
just
one of
sitting
those.
in here discussing
We could try that.
the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good little.
So that's it's
good
French
little
Lick
creepy-
Springs Hotel. That's in Indiana, right? Yeah. I got one more, but it's another quick one. You want to go?
No, go for it, man.
Are you sure?
Yeah, dude, I'm here. We're just collecting information.
We are collecting it.
You brought a ton of
Here it is.
stories
It's going
to
to go out on the internet, be there forever, theoretically. All right, so Diana of the Dunes, also an Indiana favorite,
Oh, yeah.
maybe. I don't know. The Dunes, right, they're located in Porter County.
Porter County.
Porter County, Chesterton. But, so, 1915, right? Great year, I guess. Alice Mabel Gray. She was a free spirit. She was an artist. She chose to live out her life in the dunes. Okay?
Good choice. Good
She
choice.
lived, yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. Sandy, she lived very meagerly in a shack, furnished with things that she would make out of driftwood, as well as things she would find on the beach, right? So she was just a homeless person. But she sounded like she was having a good time. So she was living well. The story spread among fishermen around the area that if you were lucky at night, you could catch a glimpse of a beautiful woman roaming the shore nude. These stories brought with them a lot of nautical traffic to the area, as you could probably
Nautical
guess.
traffic. I like that
Nautical
term.
traffic. Thank you. I like that. So locals began to refer to her as Diana of the Dunes, right? This was an actual living person. Her name was Alice. Okay, but Diana of the Dunes. This was comparing her to the Roman goddess Diana, believed to be the patroness of countryside hunters, crossroads, and the moon. She covers a lot of bases here.
That's quite the resume.
Isn't it?
You cover a lot of ground on that.
And she's a goddess.
I guess it comes with the
And not
goddess
in, like,
territory.
Yeah, there you go. You have to have four things. But so she lived the rest of her life there until her death in 1925. So she had a pretty early death, right? And it was almost immediately after this that the haunting reports began, right? Many claim around the dunes to see Alice glowing white running onto the beach, and then she disappears into either the sunset or underneath the surface of the water.
Ooh,
Isn't that creepy? She's
I like
glowing
that.
white. She's just running. Sprinting ghosts. But personal belongings often disappear, leading people to believe that Alice is stealing them.
Ooh.
But I feel like they might just be losing them in the sand.
Yeah, that's
Who knows?
slightly reasonable.
You've been to the dunes, right?
Yeah.
The dunes are great, but you lose everything in the goddamn sand.
Yeah, I could.
You drop
I could
a
see
ring,
that.
forget about it. You're not getting married.
You're done. You're done, kid. The
But,
crabs have it now. Now it's a turtle
It's
house.
a crab ring. That's all it is.
It's a crab ring.
It sounds disgusting.
It really
But,
sounds like some sex toy.
It's a ringworm.
It's a sex clamp.
Crab ring is like ringworm, but grosser.
You remember clamps from fucking Futurama? I'm
Oh,
gonna clamp
yeah.
you. I'm gonna clamp you in the
Clamp
jaw.
ya.
I got my clamps. It's just like that guy. That's what I'm thinking of. He's gonna love that ring when he gets
Oh,
it.
he is. He is. all right. So also on the beaches, disembodied footsteps in the sand at night. Isn't that crazy?
I like that.
Lights appearing to be candles floating through the air. So they're just kind of like bopping up and down like someone's carrying them maybe.
Ooh.
The feeling of being touched by invisible hands on people's backs and necks.
That's kind of
does kind of
scary.
sound nice in a sense.
It would be
but also
nice,
scary,
maybe, but it would also be bad.
Like the initial thing, it's like, oh, and then it's like, oh, all right, this is wonderful. You know, it's a quick transition. I feel like if you're being massaged,
it's a niche market that
it is a niche market, but
you got to know the consumer. You have to.
But you know,
if
the
you don't
last
get
thing,
the right one.
The last thing that she freaking brings in her death to these beach dunes is unnaturally cold breezes in the hot, sunny days.
Oh, yeah.
In certain spots of the beach.
That's so unnatural.
But anyway, it's kind of like
a cool breeze. That's so unreal.
It feels so good, but I know it's just so haunted.
It's like, you've ever been by a lake? There's a lot of nice, cool breezes.
No, it's true.
But no, I get the sentiment. You know,
Yeah,
I understand.
No, I'd believe it if it was like I could see my breath right now and I'm shivering. You could see my nipples right now; they're so hard.
You're
this is
excited.
on hot,
Feel
sunny
these
days.
nipples.
Yes, just like spots at the beach. They're just like, I'm freezing.
It's like this is a freezer right now.
It's a freezer.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we had these Halloween stories. You know, these are nice. It's a nice little transition, I think.
The Spooktacular Fest.
It's what I'm
coming to an
I'm
end.
coining as the Triple H, the Halloween Hodgepodge hour.
That's it. That's 2 H's and a P, right?
Well, it's one word. Hodgepodge.
It's hyphenated, isn't it?
Not the way I do it.
The way you do it is the way it's going to be on the show. So
You're
yeah,
right.
It's the Triple H.
Hey, grammar is nothing, okay? I don't care what they told you. You can do whatever you want.
I don't know why you're still defending it. I already gave in.
Ah,
Get out of here with that, Grant. Fuck you.
That's adorable. I love it. I love it.
I like it. Triple H's. It's like triple sixes. Satan.
It's
Or just the wonderful WWE wrestler.
But yeah, so that is I'm just gonna go out and say it. We're doing the Halloween month, you know.
It's
Halloween October.
Month. Yes, October.
I don't want to give out titles because I forgot the exact order, but we will be having an episode on the Ouija board at some point, just so you know.
Yeah.
If that's not, it might be next week. If it's not, it's the week after. I don't
see why it would be next week. I think it is, in fact.
I think it
that's
might
what
be.
we agreed on.
But, yeah, no. So, okay, we'll say it's
We'll
next
do
week.
Ouija next week.
It,
Ouija or something. What is it?
well, we're going to have to
Ouija?
find out next week. We're keeping
We'll
with
get the
Halloween
pronunciation, but I think you know what's going on.
theme. It's the complete Ouija experience. And we'll be bringing it to you live, postponed next Friday.
Live like an hour after we record it. You'll
Yeah,
be hearing it.
it's as live as it can get.
It's so
you know,
live.
it's as live as
Yeah.
we can really make it happen. But with that thoroughly being said, that's us.
That was
we are
thorough.
starting a cult.
Yeah, we are starting a cult. Follow
It's
us on
us.
all the shit. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And also, it's startacult@gmail.com. And we are also on Patreon. There's a link below. And we also have our bi-weekly little show that we're putting on Patreon. Me and Grant's original stories, along with the movie review. And it's so much fun.
You're damn
All right,
right.
so maybe go down, donate something. We'll give it right back to you. Maybe say your name if you want. We'll come to your house.
Yeah, well,
What
within
are we going to
reason,
do?
we
Come
can't.
to the house.
Some guys like, I actually live in Australia underneath a bushel of leaves.
Great, I
Like,
can't wait for the tickets.
What?
You buy us to fly there and arrive in the mail.
It's gonna take me a while. I gotta save up the money to get there, and then I gotta.
I'm going to be
get
walking there, so it's going to be a while.
So it'll take me a couple years.
Again, Indiana. That's where we are.
But but yeah. So we will be back as usual. So you know,
We are starting a cult. That was Grant. I'm Jake. That was Mitch as well. He has a guitar now.
it's true he does. Yeah, we love you all very much,
There you go.
and we'll be back next week with some more Halloween activities.
Yeah.
Bye bye now.